What's up guys, Alan Brock here, and rumor has it that if the planets align, this weekend I may get out and take an actual photograph, which is important since this is supposed to be a photography channel. But as I was getting my bag ready, I thought it would be a good chance to show you guys what bag I use, what pack I use to take with me, and what I have in it, what I take with me out on a shooting trip. So to begin with, we'll start with the pack itself. This is an Osprey Aether 70, and I actually just upgraded I haven't taken this one out yet, it's actually brand new. I upgraded from an Osprey Atmos 50, and I love that pack, absolutely loved it. I was right at the maximum weight capacity for it, and it was starting to become a little small, so I just upgraded in size to the Aether 70 here. But I chose this pack for a few reasons, as opposed to a dedicated photography pack like an f-stopper pack. Now I've got a good friend, Michael Strickland, who did a blog review of that pack, and I'll link to it down in the description below. But essentially it's one of those packs where you can make your own dedicated slots for your camera, lenses, light meter, anything else you have. Really convenient to access. You just unzip a front panel, it folds down, and your camera's right there. So those are definitely convenient packs, but I went with a regular backpacking pack for a couple reasons. One, I'm going to be making long trips with heavy gear, and I think the longest I've hiked is about just under 15 miles in one day. So comfort with all that gear was my #1 priority. I've used Osprey packs for years, just backpacking. We even have an Osprey child carrier, so I knew they were comfortable. And two, I wanted to be able to have it for a backpacking pack to get multiple uses out of it. Now I do sacrifice convenience. This is just a top load pack. It does have one front compartment at the bottom, but essentially everything has to go in the top and out the top. So you don't have that ready access to your camera gear. But the way I shoot anyway is very methodical, and I'm not ever arriving at a scene. There's my dog. I really need cats. I'm not ever arriving at a scene where I'm in a rush to shoot something, you know, it's all planned out, and so having to unpack everything from the top, really not a big deal. So that's the Osprey Aether 70. I'll just kind of unpack it and show you guys what I take with me. All right, so we'll start on the outside of the pack and kind of work our way around and show you what I store on the outside. Now first, on this side compartment here, I've got my shooting tripod. It is in carbon fiber Oben CT-2391. It's an okay tripod. I really just need to fork over the cash and get a Gitzo, but for a lot less money, this one has served me well. And a Giottos ball head. It's an MH-3300. Fairly lightweight yet stable setup for my 4x5 camera. This goes strapped on to the outside. Now I've also got various carabiners through the loops on the outside. This is to carry water. I've got my trusty Zion Adventure Company water bottle. This thing has taken a beating through the years and has always been really reliable. So just clip that into the carabiners. If I'm going on longer trips, taking water, really convenient access there. In the front compartment here, this was a game changer for me. This is a dry bag, and I've actually never used it as a dry bag. As I was searching for solutions a couple years ago about how to weight my tripod down for extra stability, I knew that I was going to be hiking in the water a lot as well as dry land. So I needed a way to be able to weight it down with water. And eventually I thought, you know, a dry bag is made to keep water out, but I bet it would do a good job keeping water in. So if I'm in the Narrows or in a river in the Smokies, I just load this up with some water, fold it down, and clip it. It's got a little loop here. I clip it to my tripod. However, it's served a really important second purpose. If I come across some place where I have nowhere to set my pack, The subway, a great example of that. You get to the top of subway, often there's no dry place to set a pack. Just spread this out, set it on the ground, set your pack on top of it. You got a nice, fairly large dry surface. So this has come in handy on multiple uses, multiple occasions. It's just a seal line 20-liter dry pack. I store that in the front pocket here. On the other side, opposite my shooting tripod, I've got a very small carbon fiber Oben tripod. This is my video tripod, and I'm actually upgrading the video, the ball head on that. This is just a rinky-dink one I used with a GoPro last year. But this year I'm taking the DSLR to try to get a little increase in video quality. But this is my video tripod. Now normally, right now I've got it strapped into the side, but normally there is a loop down at the bottom of the pack. I'll just kind of unfold the leg, stash that through the loop, close it so it's hanging to the side. That's for convenience. That way I can just reach to my side, grab it if I want to shoot some video, and it's right there. Get finished shooting the video, kind of open the leg, put it back in the loop, and we're good to go. So that is the outside of the pack. That's all I store there. And again, on longer trips, if I want to take food, we've got large storage compartments where I can stash some food in there, again on the outside, so I can have access to it. The top compartment, I always leave it attached. What I store in it, my focusing loupe, a Peak 4X loupe, really inexpensive loupe, has served me well over the years. A notebook and pen in case I ever wanted to take notes. I hardly ever do that though, but it's there if I want to. I store some various spare batteries and a headlamp. What else do we have in here? Finally, if you've seen my videos or read my blog, you'll know that I use my iPhone and an app called Viewfinder a lot to frame my scene and get an idea of what it's going to look like. These are the little lenses that are attached to that. It's just a little magnetic attachment to the iPhone. I stashed that on the little keychain holder because these lenses really have a tendency to get lost in everything. So I just leave that clipped in there. Really easy way to find them. And that's it for the top compartment. Moving to the main compartment itself. Now, for this year's trip, I picked up just a really cheap laptop compartment because I'm actually taking a few more film holders this year than last year. I've got some new film I'm trying out, or HP5. I need a little bit faster film for some ideas I have in the narrows. So got some 2 film holders in there, as well as a bag bellows. I'll get into that more in just a second. But the laptop case keeps that really well protected. One thing I forgot to mention when I was going over the difference between the F-Stoppers pack and just a normal backpacking pack is the F-Stoppers, all those compartments have foam around them, so your gear is really well protected, whereas this, your gear's not protected so much, so you have to essentially get all those compartments yourself. So you'll see I've got all my lenses and cameras stored in additional compartments. That's just so it'll have some protection while I'm hiking. Next, I've got just a little GoPro case. I do plan to take my GoPro this year. I may use it occasionally, but also store my voice recorder in there, which is in my pocket right now, a little lav mic, some extra batteries for that, as well as just some accessory cables to charge my GoPro and charge my voice recorder. So I've got that in there as well. Now we start getting into more of the camera gear. A Lee filter case. I actually use Stingray filters, but this is a really, really nice case. Stores my grads, my black and white filters, and my polarizer. Also, I've got a stop down ring in here that I use to change between the lenses. So, leaf filter holder, my Sekonic light meter, got in there, it's a 558, and then these little side compartments here, I keep extra batteries in there, and I actually need to add one now, because this is one thing, if it dies, your trip is just, or that day at least, is completely over. So I always have at least one spare battery stored in these little side compartments. Fun fact about this light meter, the memory button here is probably somewhere in Lake Powell. I have to stick my pinky in there to push the button. It fell off in the Narrows sometime last year, and despite a valiant search effort, it ended up downriver somewhere. So if anybody knows how I can come across one of those from Sekonic, leave a comment down below, because I really would like that memory button back. It's okay to stick my pinky in there and push it, but I'm eventually worried about some water getting in there. So one thing I showed you earlier was the bag bellows. I'm actually trying out a new lens this year. It's a 75mm lens. I've used it a little bit. I'm not sold on it just yet. I may end up just selling it back on eBay. It's not significantly wider than my 90mm, and it's really hard, even with my ground glass, really hard to see through it when focusing. Also, it really needs a center filter. I just don't know if I'm going to buy one. It's a hassle to change out my normal bellows to that bag bellows for the wide angle, because this lens has to be so close to the rear standard that standard bellows won't work. But I'm going to give it a chance this year in Zion, see if it works out. I'll probably be selling it, so that's why I don't have a separate storage case for it. I just kind of place it on the top of all my gear in there. We'll see though. I may use it this year, but if not, and you want a 75mm lens, let me know. Focusing cloth, just a black jacket, stash that down in there. So I get into the lenses I really use. Now, I bought these Mountainsmith camera cases, and this is what helps keep everything protected. It's going to be hard to see back there. I may throw a picture up of it, but it's kind of got rigid walls. They're foam, but they do have some rigidity to them, so they protect your gear a little bit better. Now, in this are the lenses I carry, my two main lenses, as well as shutter release cable. I have two of these. I got advice in Zion last year. I used to only carry one, and then I got advice to carry a second one. I had never had one fail on me until the next shot after that person advised me to buy a second one. So now, carry two just as insurance. This is another one of those items that if it fails, your shooting for that day is over, and it's not exactly easy to pick these up at Walmart. So, two shutter release cables, my 90mm lens, again in a lens wrap case here, just a little extra protection. Love, love, love this lens. I take about 90% of my shots with it. It just fits the way I see. So definitely have to have that lens. As well, the other lens I carry is my normal lens. It's a Nikkor 180mm lens. Honestly, it just came with the camera. I use it occasionally, but really that 90mm lens, again, it just fits my eye. So, the last case in here is my camera itself, again in one of these Mountainsmith camera cases. Now the camera is just a Shinhao 4x5 field camera, it's a folding camera. And on one end it folds up, and this is just the part that goes on the tripod. The other end is your ground glass. Now I picked up one of these ground glass protectors from Fred Newman at the View Camera Store. The ground glass is the single most expensive piece of large format gear I have. So I want to do everything I can to protect it. Not to mention, again, one of those things that if it fails, your shooting is done for that day. Not exactly easy to come by another one. When I take trips out of town, I do pack up the old ground glass I have just in case the worst happens, but this ground glass protector really handy to have. So that is it as far as the main compartment goes. Now, the bulk of my film holders, I've got 2 new ones I'm trying out this year, but the rest of them I store in this front loading compartment at the very bottom in just a plastic Tupperware case. Now, there are 8 film holders in here. They just barely fit. I've got them stored in plastic bags as well, just to offer as much protection against water as we can, as well as, again, hard to see, but I've got these rubber banded, the dark slide's really annoying to be taken out with a film holder and it catch a dark slide and ruin a sheet of film. So rubber bands kind of protect against that. I've got, with the 2 new film holders this year, I've got 10 total, which is a lot of film to carry. I've never shot that much in one day, but the 8 that I'm used to carrying, in that you get 16 shots. I just kind of gotten in the habit over the years of taking 6 sheets of Velvia, 4 sheets of Ektar, and 6 sheets of Ilford 100, Delta 100. I've tried to mix that combination up once with disastrous results. I just got confused about what was in what holder. So that's what I'm used to carrying, and I always keep them in the same film holders just to be consistent. Few other things. Now, I mentioned this year that I'm doing DSLR video. The GoPro is okay, but I found that I just wasn't getting good color out of it, and I'm not really that good at editing video, maybe you can tell. But I needed an easy way to access the camera, because if I can't grab it, then I'm not going to shoot it. If it's not convenient for me to get a camera, I'm not going to take any video. So researching solutions, a channel that I follow, Syntax77, he hikes and does video of it, mentioned the Ribz Front Pack. And essentially this goes under, you put this on first before you put your backpacking pack on. It slides under everything and looks really, really nerdy, but really convenient as well. This is the largest pack they have. I think 11 liters it holds. It's just big enough to hold a Canon 5D and a 16 to 35 millimeter lens. So store that there. It fits really well underneath my pack. I haven't had it out hiking long distance yet, but just around the house. Really convenient to grab the camera. Doesn't interfere with the pack or the waistband at all. So this is really convenient if you have a few items that you need to grab really easily. In addition to that, one thing I'll do is I've got a just an old manual 35 millimeter lens, 35 millimeter camera to capture behind the scenes shots of the trip. I don't have many of those. I've got all these landscape images, but no images of the trip itself. So I want to try to fix that this year. This will go in the other compartment. That way, you can just get it out, snap my shot, put it back, and keep on hiking. So let me take this off so I don't look quite as nerdy. That is what is in my pack. Again, the Osprey Aether 70, the Ribz Front Pack, and that's just about it. Has worked really well for me, and getting it, kind of had to spend some time organizing everything, finding the best way to pack it, but I've got that locked down, and again, that's what's in my pack. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.